So welcome to tonight's session, Nutrition 1, which is the first webinar series in our NutriWay Health Expert program. This is a two-part program for nutrition, and I'll introduce you to the session and what will be included in a moment. My name's Cheryl O'Neill, for those that I've not met out on the road before or have not met on webinars before. So welcome to tonight's session. As I mentioned earlier, it's a 1 hour session. If I could get you to mute your phones. I'm actually recording this session also, and it will be available to you later on in e-learning, I do believe. And if you could pop in any comments and questions in the questions area. It's actually quite a small area on my viewing platform. So at the end of the session, once we've finished all of the information that is scheduled for tonight, I'll go through all of the questions, scroll down them all and answer them then, rather than going back and forth. So as I said, tonight's session is 1 hour. Normally our webinars are half an hour, but because what we've actually done is what is normally out on the road as the NutriWay Expert Program nutrition session is normally a 3 hour session. And instead we've condensed it into 2 hours, of which we've broken that into 2 parts for you. Unfortunately, I'm not able to show you any videos or any demonstrations tonight, but I have got all of the information for you to have a look at that after the session. So tonight is the first session of nutrition, and the second session is on the 18th of March, if you want to mark that one down in your diary. So our program is divided into 3 topics for the NutriWay Expert program. First one is nutrition, of which, as I mentioned earlier, there's 2 parts, followed by herbs, of which there's 2 parts, and then building your NutriWay business, of which there's 2 parts. Tonight what we're looking at is explaining the NutriWay difference. So what makes us different? I'm going to give you lots of information on the history, farming, looking at phytonutrients, talking about seed to supplement, and I have lots of reference material for you. So I'm planting the seed tonight, and I'm giving you lots of information to go forth and have a look in your own time as well. We're going to look at the actions, sources and deficiencies of several vitamins within the body. I've chosen 5 for us to look at tonight. At the end of the second part of the nutrition session, you'll be able to do the assessment online via e-learning, and you'll then get a certificate of attendance. The presentation notes can be made available to you. All you need to do is email the Ask Your Naturopath service for a PDF copy, and I'll give you that email throughout the session also, if you've not used that resource before. Now, normally I would hand out some informative reference guides and handouts for you in our session, but obviously I can't physically give them to you tonight, but I have made them available for you via e-learning. So the first handout that I make reference to is called NutriWay History, and it's a chronicle of Carl Renberg's life and the formation of Nutrilite. Then we've got the Vitamin and Mineral Quick Reference Guide, and that I created to give you all of the NutriWay products and all of the relating vitamins and minerals that we discuss in our nutrition session, and where you can find them within our supplements. So if you're looking for vitamin C within the NutriWay range, you can have a look at this quick reference guide, look up vitamin C and find a list of all of the products within our range that contain vitamin C. The next one is a quick reference guide in regards to the deficiencies and food sources of the vitamins and minerals we're discussing in these webinar series. So they're very good reference material. It will save you writing copious amounts of notes. So view tonight as the information source. You could go online if you can coordinate listening to me and opening up e-learning to have a look at those references that are available on e-learning. You need to open up your Amway website, go into My Business, go into Training, go into e-learning, and on the left-hand side go into resources, and you will find listed these 3 handouts for you. So I'll just give you a moment to write down that pathway: Amway website, my business, training, e-learning and resources. Okay. So normally it's at this point I would actually get a hands up, but considering there's about 100 people online, I'm not going to get you to type that in. I can't read all those responses quick enough. I would normally ask who is brand new to NutriWay and who has seen NutriWay sessions before, knows a little bit about Carl Renberg, who's heard the story copious amounts of times, and I would normally welcome my newbies and tell them my general spiel on Carl Renberg, but I'm also going to give you some resources as to what you can use as well. So Carl Renberg is the founder of Nutrilite, and for those who are quite new, so welcome. A few of you have typed in that you're new, so welcome to maybe your first session on NutriWay. So going back to basics, NutriWay is our name here in Australia and in New Zealand, but we're called Nutrilite in many other countries around the world. There was just a name that was similar to Nutrilite in our region, so we had to change it to NutriWay. We are one and the same. So Carl Renberg was the founder of Nutrilite. Now, he just had a passion and a desire to learn more about nutrition back in the early 1920s. It was obviously quite a new area. There wasn't too many journals and information around, unlike today where you pick up the normal newspaper and you find copious amounts of references to vitamin D, calcium, magnesium, the latest buzz, superfoods, etc. He kept abreast of all of that information and knew from his own studies and watching people that where he was working in China at the time for an oil field company, he noticed that the health of those living on the land, eating from the land and eating less refined foods, their health was better than those that were unable to do so and were actually eating more refined foods. So he saw that correlation, which is still something that we talk about today, the fact that eating whole grain, fresh food that's not preserved, not convenient, packaged, etc., gives us more nutrients. He actually worked for several companies whilst in China. He then came over to America, came back, and it was in the 1930s that he started his own lab and creating his own nutritional supplements. He actually worked for Carnation Milk, and he learnt about alfalfa and how they fed the cows alfalfa. He learnt about the properties of alfalfa, which you will still notice in several of our supplements today. And through his own studies and his own lab work, of which is still used today, and you can see lots of reference material to what he used and back then, he established Nutrilite. And it was in 1934 he established XX, our first multivitamin and multi-mineral supplement. Now today, this is the handout also that I have for you on e-learning, the history of Nutrilite and chronicling Carl Renberg's life and where we are today. So you can have a look at that online a little bit later. But today his son, Sam, Dr. Sam, still continues to be a product of the product, and he was around last year in October in Sydney and in Brisbane, bringing the Nutrilite 80th anniversary to our shores. For those who were unlucky to not be in those states, including myself, we're very lucky because of technology today allows us to still get a lot of that information through the videos that were taken. So if you go onto the Amway website and go onto the 80th anniversary panel that flashes up before you, you will see this page that I've copied for you. You've got the Nutrilite tour, you've got information on the power of 5, you've got Nutrilite turning 80, you've got information about the phytonutrients, information about how they commemorated the year, and the Nutrilite story as well. The Nutrilite Story is actually a book written by Dr. Sam, who, I don't know if I mentioned, Dr. Sam's actually the son of Carl Remberg. So that is, I've actually got that book and I've had it for a while, and I'm still into I think about a third of the way, and he hasn't even introduced Nutrilite yet. It's just talking about the background and what he did along the ways. It's such an informative read, and it's really quite mind-blowing to see how far ahead he was of the game way back then. So all of these resources are available to you if you weren't in the right state at the right time to be able to be a part of the 80th anniversary event. So they're all online for you on the Amway website. Now, something else that a video I would actually normally show at this session is a little bit of an introduction to the 80 years and the growth of the brand, and that is also a part of the page I just showed you under the Nutrilite tour. So let's talk a little bit about organic farming, which as we've heard a lot more about organic farming in the last 10 to 15 years, but back in the 1920s and 30s, not many people were doing it. Carl Remberg believed that nature provided the highest quality of ingredients and highest quality of nutrients from those properties. The Nutrilite farms are all certified organic farms, and because we've grown so large, and we have our main farms, but if any farm is commissioned to grow some products for us, they have to abide by the NutriCert certification for organically producing the products. Carl Remberg developed a way through his studies of removing the water and the fibre from a plant, which left him with the nutrient-dense concentrate, which is what is then put into the supplements, and that's in the powder form. These are our 4 farms: Trout Lake, Lakeview, Brazil and Mexico. And on the 80th birthday celebration page I showed you previously, there's actually an introduction to the farms also. Sometimes seeing is believing. So I wanted to introduce you to phytonutrients. So in our background, we have the history of Carl Remberg. We have the fact that he was a pioneer, ahead of his game, believed in organic farming, believed in what he put into the nutrients, into the plants, was what we'd consume with the plants. So the understanding is that a phytonutrient is a plant-derived compound that's not been established as having as essential nutrient, but it's associated with positive health effects, of which some of the health effects are antioxidant properties, balance of the cell growth, support the body's natural detox process, and support for hormone and immune response. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what phytonutrients mean and show you a little bit of how they saw those benefits. But one other area I'm going to direct you to is a program that is on e-learning called Colour Yourself Healthy. And we did a Colour Yourself Healthy tour several years ago, whereby we discussed the 5 colours of our fruits and vegetables, and then the follow-on health benefits from those 5 colours. So the antioxidant properties of those 5 colours, or their groupings, and then the positive health effects that came from those. So that's a separate program that goes deeper into the various colours, and it's called Colour Yourself Healthy. Now, a plant will have more phytonutrients within it if we spray less chemicals onto that plant, and I want to explain that further. So a plant has a natural defense system like we do, working for us to fight off bacteria, to protect us from UV, protect us from other foreign matter that we're exposed through. It protects us naturally. When we are living in that state where we're going along, we're exposed to all of things, we build up our immune system, within the plant it's doing the same thing. So what happens is phytonutrients within that plant are actually helping it to fight off the bacteria, to protect the plant, act like its immune system also. If we spray chemicals onto that plant, the phytonutrients within that plant say, oh, you don't need us as much anymore. You've got the chemicals to help fight off the bacteria, protect you from the UV, to protect you from any foreign matter trying to eat into you, etc. So it basically starts to produce less phytonutrients. Hence, if we then pick that plant and eat that plant, there's less phytonutrients within that plant that's been sprayed with chemicals. If, on the other hand, we leave that plant and we don't spray chemicals onto it and we do it in an organic process, there's more phytonutrients within that plant. Hence, if we then consume that plant, we're consuming more phytonutrients as well. And that goes back to what Carl did with his studies, where he found that a plant would have more phytonutrients within it if we sprayed less chemicals on it, hence the need for organic farming, and hence his study into phytonutrients, of which more and more information is coming about in mainstream supplements in regards to phytonutrients and having phytonutrients within their range, and it's something that we've had for 80 years. So just as a visual for seed to supplement, how we plant the seed, we bring the plants to life and we pick the plants, and we've got a photo here of some acerola cherries, some asparagus and some broccoli. The process Carl then developed was removing the fibre, removing the water, and then what is left is the dense concentrate powder. And it's this powder you see on the right hand side of the screen there that is then added into our supplements. Now, chromatography is a way of discovering the active substances within a product, and this is what Carl Remberg developed, and this is what is still used in the Nutrilite Institute in America. So this is a photo, a graph here of chromatography of a synthetic ascorbic acid. Now you can see on the bottom of the screen the retention time, and it goes from 0 up to 10, 20, 30 minutes. The pretty colours and the response on the left-hand side, they are the different separate substances that are a part of the ascorbic acid, so the active ingredients within the ascorbic acid. And you can see here there's quite an array of colours, so there's quite an array of active substances, but their retention time, the amount of time that they actually remain within that product, is up to about 10 minutes. If we have a look at chromatography of a acerola concentrate, we can see here that there's actually more colours and they're actually active for a lot longer. It actually goes past the 60-minute time frame here. So to compare the two, if we're having a look at a synthetically formed ascorbic acid, we've got less retention compared to a acerola concentrate that's organically grown. And it was this study that Carl did to see the difference between something that is organically farmed and something that's synthetically made. There's more active constituents, and those active compounds give us more antioxidant properties as well. Sorry. Now, I mentioned seed to serving, and there's also another video and program you can actually do along with the Colour Yourself Healthy that I mentioned. So I just wanted to direct you there also. So you go onto the Amway website, go into My Business, go into Training and Launch e-learning. Then you go into Courses this time. And the courses are listed here on the left-hand side of your screen. The one I'm referring to is Seed to Serving, which is a fantastic video. It has shows you the farms, it shows you the labs, it shows you the certification process. You'll actually see the chromatography taking place, still being used in the Nutrilite Institute. We've also got the Colour Yourself Healthy Tour program as well, and Perfect Balance and NutriWay Healthy Aging, which were other tours that have been done over the last few years as well. Now, some further resources that I've referred to, one of which is the Ask Your Naturopath service. So this service is free to our IBOs to ask us any questions. When I say us, that's the naturopaths within the business. So we're here for you to answer, to ask us any NutriWay related question. No question is too big, too small. If we don't know the answer, then lucky for us, we've got a technical regulations department. If they don't know the answer, we send it on to the Nutrilite Institute. So that email address is naturaway@nutrilway.com.au. And don't forget, you've got the NutriWay website, which is for everything NutriWay, www.nutrilway.com.au. You'll find lots of useful resources on there, one of which is the What Could Be More Natural book, which is an e-book now. That's 100 pages of talking about not only Carl Renberg, organic farming, etc., but every supplement within our range is in this book. What's within that supplement, who should be taking it, who shouldn't be taking it, and what active constituents it's got within there are there for you as well. So it's the NutriWay go-to guide for sure. You've always got your webinars available to you, and don't forget Facebook. You've got the NutriWay and Nutrilite Facebook page to keep you abreast of what is happening out on the road there. I love looking at the Nutrilite Facebook page. I'm a bit of a seeing is believing kind of girl, and I like to see them using the GPS system to use their tractors whilst they're picking the fruits. I like to see them doing their pruning and their picking. I like to meet the lab technicians, Dr. B, who's in control of all of the B vitamins. I like to see all the latest up-to-date information. Make me feel like I'm there, I suppose. And as I've mentioned, I've referred you to e-learning a fair bit, and it's a fantastic resource that's available to you 24/7. So now we're going to go into the vitamins part of the session, but before we do, I'm just going to go through the questions that might relate to anything that we've covered up until this point. So I'll just have a quick look. So someone asked whether it's being recorded, and I did mention earlier that yes, I am recording this and it will be made available on e-learning. So we've got a few newbies, so welcome. My concept with that brief introduction to Nutrilite and NutriWay was to be planting the seeds. So I've given you some introduction and then hopefully some further information for you to go and explore further. Yes, now the second and the third handout someone has mentioned that I referred back to earlier, they're not as I named them. They should be named as, let me just double check for you. It'll be NutriWay history and then the two under there. I'm just going to have a quick look and see what I have named them. They might be named as something slightly different. See. Okay, I think I've named them NutriWay Expert Program. NutriWay, sorry, it's just gone on me. Yeah, one was, they were called something slightly different, so I've just updated that. Yeah, they should be start with NutriWay Expert Program, and then I've listed them as the separate individual handouts. So they are those same ones for that person who asked. Someone asked the question, why is it called NutriWay over here? Because there was another company that was named more closely to Nutrilite, and hence they had to change the name. The go-to guide, what's that book called? That is called What Could Be More Natural. And you should be able to find that on the NutriWay website, and you'll also be able to find it on the Amway website under My Business and Resources Downloads, I believe. And it's a 100-page document. Now, someone's mentioned they can't see resources under the link provided. It should be on the left-hand side, the resources. Hang on 1 minute. Now, I'm just going to see what the reference was made to, the resources. Let me just go back. This one here. So, okay, so Amway website, My Business Training, e-learning, and then on the left-hand side is resources. And there should be courses, etc. Resources is about the second last one, I believe. We can, if you have any individual problems with that separately, I'll give you my email address at the end, and you can ask me for further information as well. But let us continue. Okay, so I won't go back to the questions now until we get to the end of this session. Okay. So we're looking at vitamins now. Vitamins are considered micronutrients, and they're organic substances that are present in food and required by your bodies in small amounts. And what are they required for? A range of activities, one being regulation of metabolism, maintenance of normal growth and functioning, and avoidance of deficiencies that can be life-threatening. Now, what I'm about to go through is going to have a lot of information, so don't forget that you'll be able to get the handouts online as well. So they will detail the deficiency signs and the food sources as well. So your vitamins are broken into water-soluble vitamins and fat-soluble vitamins. Your water-soluble ones are mainly your B vitamins that are listed individually here, along with your vitamin C, and then you've got your fat-soluble vitamins, which are vitamin A, D, E, and K. And your fat-soluble vitamins are actually stored in the fat of your body. Now your B vitamins, I'm going to refer to your B vitamins as the group of B vitamins, which is how they appear in our supplements, and it's normally suggested that we do consume them in the group together, all the Bs, keep them together, unless for some reason someone's been prescribed a separate higher level of a particular B vitamin, such as B12 or maybe B6, but generally they're still consumed with the other B vitamins. Now they're water-soluble vitamins, which means that your body does not store them. Therefore, they need to be replaced each day. Hence the importance of taking either your NutriWay daily or your NutriWay XX each day. So when do we take our daily? With breakfast or with lunch? Once a day. When do we take our XX? We take it with breakfast and we take it with lunch. Now, often some problems people have with XX have something to do with the digestion of XX. My suggestion is that you take half of your breakfast, so eat half of your breakfast, then take your XX, then eat the other half of your breakfast. And you'll have more active digestive enzymes to break it down, basically. Often if you eat your breakfast and then go off, get yourself ready, come back and be ready to take your multivitamin, it's 20-30 minutes later, and often there's not enough digestive enzymes to break it down, and you can kind of get that nauseous feeling that a lot of people have had. And then they say, I can't take XX. So try it that way and see how you go. So we're taking our XX with breakfast and we're taking it with lunch. So what are some of the benefits of B vitamins? So they're essential for your nervous system. Therefore, they also assist in reducing the effects of stress, help to break down energy from your carbs, fats and proteins, and they also help to support your skin health and healthy digestion. When your stress levels are extremely high, it's advisable to look at an option of XX versus daily, because there's more B vitamins in XX than there is in daily. And not forgetting your food sources here, getting some more of your whole grains, your oats, your brown rices, your eggs, your pulses, etc. So I'll just stick on that page for a second. So when my clients rate their stress level for me, and I get my clients to rate their stress level between 1 being low and 10 being high, and if they're rating their stress level at 20, which many do, then I get them to take XX because daily won't have enough B vitamins in them for that stress level. Now, some people do say that they take XX with dinner. I generally advise against doing that because you, A, tend to not need your B vitamins so much when you're winding down at night time. But I know if you're an IBO, you might be more active in the night than you might have been earlier in the day, and that's fine. But the one thing to be cautious of is that B vitamins, because they're for energy also, they can keep people awake. So please be conscious of that. I'd always recommend that you're telling people to take it with lunch because of that. Now let's look at our wonderful vitamin C, which we hear so much about these days, our amazing vitamin C. It's a powerful antioxidant, protector of the body, necessary for tissue growth and repair, and helps form and repair collagen in your bones, cartilage, muscle and blood vessels. Also assists in the healing process and aids the body's absorption of iron. It is a water-soluble vitamin, so you're going to wee out what you haven't used in that day. Now, what are some of the sources of vitamin C? Some berries, lemons, limes, oranges, broccoli, tomatoes, capsicum. And what are some possible deficiency signs of being low in vitamin C? Scurvy, not so common these days, but constipation is one. And poor iron absorption and oxidation within the body. So I always recommend when someone's taking an iron supplement, they have vitamin C also. Constipation, generally the three things that are lacking with constipation is lack of fluid, lack of exercise and lack of vitamin C. Now, as I said, don't worry too much about writing down all of this information. It is on the handout that's available on e-learning for you. Vitamin A is a fat-soluble vitamin. It's also a very potent and powerful antioxidant, essential for eye health, and is also critical for normal growth, development and renewal of your skin cells. Maintains your skin strength and elasticity and protects fat lying beneath the skin from oxidizing. Very important for bone and teeth formation. Now, supplementation of vitamin A on its own at a high level is not recommended during pregnancy. That does not mean that taking daily or XX is not allowed during pregnancy because they're quite low doses of vitamin A. The reason there's a warning on XX in regards to consumption during pregnancy is for the person to seek advice. What we don't want is them taking XX plus taking a multivitamin that might be recommended by a friend and another multivitamin recommended by a doctor, and therefore consuming too many multivitamins and hence too much vitamin A. And that's why there's a warning on there. So what are we looking for possible deficiency symptoms with vitamin A? Often some skin disorders, continual or increased infections and eye disorders are possible low vitamin A, and we're getting our vitamin A from many of our green and orange fruits and vegetables as well. Now looking at vitamin E, another antioxidant. So your antioxidants are your vitamin A, C and E. They protect your cell membranes from oxidative damage and also are required by your membranes to prevent loss of flexibility. They oxygenate your cells and your tissues and prolongs the life of your cell, promotes healing and reduces scarring. Some sources of vitamin E, wheat germ oils, are a very powerful source of vitamin E, along with sunflower seeds and your pumpkin seeds and your almonds and your hazelnuts. Some symptoms, often excessive dry hair or loss of hair. When your wounds tend to heal quite slowly. Possible mild anemia, and a severe deficiency affects your central nervous system. Now, interesting to note that vitamin E deficiency often comes about from your fat malabsorption. That means that it's not able to get it from your fat because it's still sitting there not being metabolized. Vitamin D. This is the next time I normally get everyone to put their hand up. So who has had their blood tested recently and had their vitamin D levels tested and discovered that they are low in vitamin D? I'm sure I can see many hands up. I'm getting lots of comments saying, yes, that's me, yes, that's me. So I strongly recommend that everybody gets their blood tested once a year from their doctor. As a vegetarian, I go and get mine tested for my iron levels and my B12 levels. I get everything tested at the same time though, because I'm a wuss when it comes to needles and I'd rather get it all done in one time. I suggest everybody has that testing so you know where you're at. Now, vitamin D is an interesting one because we've all discovered recently that we're low in vitamin D. Why is that? Because they believed previously that we wouldn't have a problem with vitamin D because we live in Australia. Yes, we do live in a lovely sunny place, although it hasn't been too sunny here in Melbourne recently, but we do get the sun, but most of us are either working inside or we've got sunscreen on us and we're not getting that 10 to 15 minutes of sun exposure. And that's sun exposure when the UV levels are low, and when I'm not suggesting go out in 40-degree heat and get your 10 minutes of sun, but we're not getting that regular amount. Now that is a daily amount. You cannot go on the weekend and sit outside for an hour and get your vitamin D for the week. Your vitamin D levels actually stop producing after about 10 to 15 minutes of sun exposure, and you don't then keep making more after that point in time. There's a lot of research out on vitamin D now, and unfortunately it's being linked to a lot of deficiencies and problems within our bodies. And unfortunately, most people are pretty low in their vitamin D. The only people I have that have good vitamin D levels, of which there's only a handful over the last few years, it is either A, the person who in winter, when everyone else is covered from head to toe, they're sitting there in a t-shirt. So they're getting their regular intake of a little bit each day of vitamin D from the sun. The second person that normally gets a good level of vitamin D is the person who exercises outside. Okay, so they go for a run outside, they're doing something outside in the environment, therefore they are normally able to get some vitamin D through each day. And the third type of person that's normally able to get good levels of vitamin D when they get their blood tested is someone who is already taking vitamin D supplements. So let's look at the reasons why vitamin D is so important. It aids calcium absorption by our bones. It helps to regulate calcium and phosphorus levels within our body, helps your bones to keep the calcium, and helps to maintain a healthy heart, and also helps to support your immune system. So 10 to 15 minutes per day, the lighter your skin is, the less sun exposure you tend to need. And 10 to 15 minutes per day, you know, just lift up your sleeves on your arm and get that sun exposure on your arms. You tend to have some moisturizer or maybe some foundation on your face, hence blocking that level of vitamin D coming in. So that 10-minute walk in lunchtime to go and get your sun. How else can we get vitamin D besides from our sun? Some lovely cod liver oil followed with fish, eggs, and some fortified dairy and cereals are now putting vitamin D within them as well. Some deficiencies are bone pain, muscle weakness, rickets in children, osteomalacia in adults, and severe digestive problems such as having Crohn's disease and celiac disease affect the absorption of vitamin D in the body. And unfortunately, a lot of those conditions are still going around undiagnosed, hence people are low in vitamin D and aren't aware of those conditions as well that are affecting their absorption of their vitamin D each day. And in the next session in nutrition, when we're going to talk a lot more on minerals, then you'll see the link between the importance of vitamin D with calcium and magnesium with your heart health as well. Sorry, I'll just go back. So I've mentioned here that vitamin D aids calcium absorption by the bones and regulates calcium and phosphorus levels. So that's a note to self to remember for the next session that incorporates the healthy heart part of it as well. Okay, so the next session, what we're going to go through before I looked at all the questions that are coming up now is Nutrition 2, so the second part of NutriWay Expert Program. It's on the 18th of March and it's at 8 p.m. We're going to be introducing you to minerals, 5 minerals, and once again what they're responsible for, the food sources, the deficiency signs. We're also going to look further at resources available to you and several NutriWay demonstrations that you can use and play with as well. Oops. Now, in a minute, I'm going to ask for more questions too, but before I do, I want to remind you of the Pepper Tree Talk series that's coming around soon. We have Gabrielle Paulini, who's a research scientist, who's coming over from America to talk with us. Now, the Pepper Tree Talks, for those who have never heard anything about it, was something that Carl Remberg used to do. He was once sitting out on the farm underneath a tree, and some IBOs were looking for him, and they found him sitting under the tree, and several hours later they discussed not only what they came to find him for, but many other topics, NutriWay or life related, and these talks became a regular occurrence under the pepper tree with Carl and are often something that staff and IBOs from Carl's time remember and speak quite fondly of. So we're going to be running these sessions as well. I'm doing some pepper tree talks, and you're going to have a few presenters, of which I'm coming along to the Coburg and the Logan Home session. But they're $10 tickets, of which $5 will be going to the One by One Foundation. Brisbane's on Friday the 27th of February, Melbourne's on Saturday the 28th of February, Sydney's on Sunday the 1st of March, followed by sunny New Zealand, Auckland on Tuesday the 3rd of March, and Christchurch on Wednesday the 4th of March. So before I go through questions, I've got my email address down the bottom here as well, but I just wanted to say thank you for coming along to tonight's session. Many of you might have thought that you were coming along to a skincare session, and sorry about that. I hope you enjoyed the nutrition session instead, but you haven't missed out. The skincare session will be at a later date on the 25th of February, I do believe. As I said, the second session of nutrition is on Wednesday the 18th of March at 8 p.m. My email address is down the bottom there if you have any questions that you wanted to ask me individually. Otherwise, I am going to go through the questions that you guys have asked, and I'll just refer back to some points from the beginning in case people have missed those important references. So just in regards to the handouts that are available to you, they're the 3 handouts on NutriWay history, and then followed by the 2 quick reference guides that are available on e-learning for you as well. So I'm just going to go through the questions now. So type away if you have any questions you'd like to ask. just reading this. Okay, someone has asked the question, do we need both XX and daily? Do you need to take them both together? No, you don't need to take them both together, so you would not be taking XX and daily at the same time. It would be too much vitamin B, and you'll either wee it out, or if you have too much vitamin B, you can get something called a niacin flush throughout the whole body, which is a red rash caused by having too much in one go. And we don't generally need to take them both at the same time. Some people do cross between the two maybe. So if they're having a very stressful time, they'll have their XX twice a day with breakfast and with lunch. But then if their stress levels start to go down and they feel they can rely a little bit less on less B vitamins, then they might start to consume just once a day daily. That's generally, people toggle between the two if needed, but no, you don't need to be taking both XX and daily each day. Now, there was a question about whether all the information from tonight is on the e-learning site. So the 3 handouts on the screen now that are referenced, the NutriWay history and the 2 reference guides, are on the e-learning site. If you'd like a copy of the presentation, you need to email me. Now, yeah, is the next session at 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time? Yes, it is. Okay, so someone's asking me about the resources on e-learning. All right, so let me... no, not that. Okay, I don't have... Okay, I'll log in and I'll show you where they are if I'm able to. Should be able to. So someone asked me to show them. Okay, so my business, training, e-learning, so while this is launching, I will answer the next question. Will the certification assessment be required to be completed after the second session? Yes. So you can't complete it as yet. You need the password from me. So yes, after the second session, I will give you the password and the link to do the assessment for nutrition after you've done part 1 and part 2. Okay, so on the left-hand side, here's your resources in e-learning. Okay. Now here we are here. We have History of NutriWay. We have the NutriWay Expert Program, NutriWay Vitamin and Mineral Supplements, and we have the NutriWay Expert Program Vitamin and Mineral References. So they're your 3 handouts from tonight's session. Going back to my questions. Yes, so it is possible to have a copy of the PowerPoint presentation. You just need to email me. I'm not covering omega-3 in the next session is another question. It doesn't come under the vitamin and mineral portion that we are covering tonight, but we do cover omega-3 very often in our sessions, so stay tuned. There'll be something coming, I'm sure, on omega-3. But if you have any particular questions, feel free to pop them in now and I'm happy to answer them. Next question, do you take double X as well as the other vitamins? So as a general rule, our three main foundational products are concentrated fruit and vegetables. Okay, they've got all your antioxidants. Daily or double X that have your vitamins, your minerals and some antioxidants, and then we have our omega-3 complex that gives us omega-3, which is our essential fatty acids. Once we start taking those three foundational products, then we might find, okay, I'm a little bit low in vitamin C, I'm suffering some of the deficiencies, so you might wish to add vitamin C onto the equation. You might then feel the need to add in some herbs, so you might be studying and you need some Siberian ginseng and ginkgo biloba, so you might add that into the equation. So we start with our foundationals, those three products, and then we add others onto the range. That's where you can have your one-on-one consultation with the naturopath in a business centre to go over what you're currently taking and what they believe you should be taking and at what time of the day, etc. as well. I hope that answered that question. Okay, so pregnant ladies, so the question was about pregnant ladies and what supplements they should and shouldn't be taking. No herbs for pregnant ladies. Pregnant ladies are able to take our NutriWay Double X or daily, as long as they're not taking other multivitamins. They're also able to take concentrated fruit and veg and omega-3. They can, if required throughout their pregnancy, take some iron and some vitamin C as well. They may also need some calcium and magnesium throughout the pregnancy in the third trimester quite often. Outside of that, they generally don't need to take any other of the supplements, and they're not allowed to take any herbs. Next question, when will the webinar be available on the Amway website? To be honest, I actually don't know the full answer to that. I'm recording it now. It then gets sent and downloaded to Sydney. So I would say give us a few days, maybe a week, and it should be available under e-learning. But I'll definitely let you know the next time at the next webinar series as well, and I'll let Donna also know. She'll be the next one up on Wednesday the 25th of February, so she'll be able to inform you further also then. I will be giving you the code to do the quiz, but you can't do it yet. You need to do both sessions, and the quiz actually isn't live until after we've completed the second part of the session. So at the second session, we'll talk about the mineral side of things and your resources, and then you'll get the code for the quiz then. There was a question on double X, and when people are taking double X and they kind of get that funny stomach feeling. So as I recommended, try and make sure they have half of their meal, take their double X, then take the other half of their meal, and that tends to 9 times out of 10 rectify that problem. Otherwise, you can always email the Ask Your Naturopath service to give you more information about that as well. Prior to the first, okay, someone's asked to have a look at a slide on the PowerPoint, so I'll just get to that. The one before vitamin B. Okay, I think this is the one you've asked for. Show the slide prior to the vitamin B slide. So that's the one there where I've listed the water-soluble and the fat-soluble vitamins. So. Yes, the question is this the same nutrition training that was on last year? Yes, it is. We're just doing it in a different avenue via a webinar, as opposed to me coming out to the different regional centres, or for those who didn't make them. They will still be coming around to your business centres and to regional centres as well. So this is just another avenue for those who live too far away from any of those locations that we get to, for us to be able to get to you as well. Cod liver oil is not the same as omega-3. There's a question here saying, is cod liver oil the same as omega-3? No, omega-3 is your essential fatty acids. Every cell membrane requires those essential fatty acids, whereas cod liver oil has different properties of which one was the high vitamin A level. Okay, next question. Can I show my email address again? I certainly can, so I'll take you down to that. Okay, so I'm going to keep answering any more questions that come up for the next 5 minutes or so. But firstly, once again, I want to say thank you for taking the time to come along to tonight's session, for giving me an hour of your time in your busy lives. I hope you do get the chance to come along to the second part of the nutrition session. And if you have any questions, email the Ask Your Naturopath service. Or you can email me, but I'm going to give you a warning. I only work part-time, so give me a good few days to a week leeway to get back to you. Otherwise, the Ask Your Naturopath service is a faster turnaround. So you've got my email address down there, and then you've got naturopath@neutralway.com.au.